Part 2 of the ManageBac parent account tutorials. This part 2 will cover academics, the academics tab here. So from our dashboard that we covered in the last one, we're going to click on academics. When we click on academics, this brings us to this page that shows us what our student has been doing. Can get us to their files and reports and their current classes. So I'm gonna skip over this first page for now. We'll come back. We're going to go to the timetables tab. We click on timetables. We can see the actual classes that the student has taken and their schedule. So it gives us the time. We can also see some of the attendance information here. So you can look through and see where your student is at 8:30 on a Wednesday. The portfolio will be a collection of all of the work that has been turned in by this student. So you can see this student has turned in two documents. It'll break it down into the different types of documents that they've turned in or different types of files, and then also by the different classes. This is a pretend account, so there's not a lot, but if your student has been at Lincoln for several years and has been using ManageBac, it will be a collection of all of their work since they've been using ManageBac. And then finally, you can go over here to reports. And reports is where you can find progress reports and report cards. And so you can see this is the end of year report card for the academic year of 2014-2015. If you click on this, you can open it. You'll have access to that. And each time a new report is submitted, it will show up here. So you'll always have access to this. So the same thing, if your student has been here for a couple of years, you should have a couple of years worth of report cards here. So we'll go back to this academics tab. And this is where you see the current classes listed. So this student has 3 classes. The personal project is not actually a class, but something that they're doing in grade 10. And you'll see that these are not matched up by grade level, but that's just for practice. Your student, they should all be the same grade level. We're going to start with the Spanish Phase 1. If I click on this, I can see all of the work that's been assigned for this class. All of these are the assignments. The date that it is due is shown here on the side. And you can see they've done a good bit of stuff in Spanish, a lot of work in Spanish. This is the grade graph, and you can see it's broken down by criteria. That's part of the MYP, is these different 4 different criteria. And all criteria are graded up to an 8, or the feedback goes up to 8. And now if I want to separate out and see what one of these is, it's a little bit difficult. If I hover over it, it will show me its total score. But if I want to isolate only that yellow one, I can click down everything else, and I can see that this is the actual assignment that he's worked, that the grade matches with. And then I can add them back as I go along. This is a nice feature that allows you to see exactly what grade matches with what. So those are good. And there's, as you can see, there's a lot more. Now some of these may not have a particular grade because they may just be classwork kind of things. So keep that in mind as well. Now if I want to see details about one of these tasks, I need to click over here on the arrow on the side, and this will open it up, and I can see what's going on. The instructions for the task are here. This is the score that was received, and again, this is out of 8. If I hover over the I, this gives me information about the rubric, so you can look and see what the rubric is and exactly what the 8 means. And then you will see here any comments that came from the teacher. So you can see this student did pretty well on this one, an 8 out of 8, and muy bien. I'm going to move over to a different class real quick. Go to this ManageBac Pretend class to show you. You get the same thing. You can see the teachers across here, and if you hover over them, you can email. It'll give you their contact information. So that's me if you need to contact me with further information. You can do that. And then you'll notice these icons on the side. If you hover over these, it says waiting. That means that nothing has been turned in for this one. These two say waiting, nothing's been turned in. And this one says 5 days and it's red. That means this was turned in late. You'll get different colors and warnings for late on time and those sorts of things here. But the basics are that. Now you may also hover over one of these and it may say Dropbox not enabled. And that means there was nothing to be turned in. But I want to show you how to get to a document here, so I'm going to click. And we can see that the scheduled quiz, this is what your student turned in. In this case, this is what Ron turned in. And I can see his grade here again and a comment from the teacher. But if I want to look at the work that was submitted, I can click here and I'll open up the PDF, which I'll do real quick. And this was created for open house night. So it says, thanks for coming to open house. But this would be your student's work, whatever it is that they submitted. And then I can go back. And that's the basics of the academics tab. I encourage you to just kind of click around and play with it. That's a good way to figure out what things do. It's very hard to mess anything up. Just investigate, click on things, and again, use the help. If you have questions, things that you're not quite sure about, if you click on the help, it'll take you to the ManageBac help site, and they have some pretty good tutorials there.